President Trump keeps insinuating that the United States might pull out of NATO. And analysts break it down like it's a real strategic possibility. But I think the entire conversation is premature and unnecessary. Welcome to Ozi Perspective. On this channel, I take widely accepted global ideas, narrative, and assumptions, and I look at them differently. Because too many things are accepted simply because they have been repeated many times. So here the aim is to slow down, think clearly, and question ideas that are rarely questioned properly. So when President Trump raises the idea that the United States could leave NATO, it creates an impression that this is something that could realistically happen. But when you understand how power works, it becomes very difficult to take that idea seriously. You see, the United States would not willingly disengage from NATO, not because it cannot, but because NATO is one of the key systems that sustains American power. You know, we very often think of power as something that a country simply has. You know, once you have a massive military strength and enormous economic potential and technological advantage. But that's only part of the picture. Power is also about positioning and access and permission. You see, in global politics, power is not inherent. Power is, to a large extent, donated and reinforced by other countries, the ones that allow you operate within their borders, align with you, and support your presence. That is what turns a strong country into a global superpower. And this is not new. You see, this was how the Roman Empire dominated the world, because Rome projected power by placing its legions across nations. The British Empire and European powers of old also maintained dominance through this same framework, because they had global presence all across the world, massive navy bases that they used to control global trade. No major power in history has maintained dominance by staying within its own borders, because presence creates influence. The fact that the United States today is a superpower is not just because of what it has, but because of where it is. It has military presence across multiple countries and regions, from Germany, Japan, the Philippines, and way beyond. Some of these bases exist because of historical outcomes like defeat in war. In the case of Germany and Japan, some were forced, others were true strategic agreements. But the point is, altogether they form something critical, a global network of access and influence. And that leads me to another misconception or mischaracterization of NATO. The fact that the United States protects Europe and carries all the burden. But that ignores the fact that the United States benefits from the arrangement more than other countries, because NATO members also strengthen the United States. They give it legitimacy and provides it with war infrastructure, not just military bases, but proximity and range, which enables the United States to have access to flashpoints and strategic regions that would have taken the United States significantly longer to reach if it didn't have those positioning. And that allows the United States to project power globally as part of a system, not in isolation. So you see, it turns out that the Europeans and other NATO members are not passengers, they are actually landlords. And that's very important. So when the media debate whether the United States might leave NATO, they are debating the wrong question. Because leaving NATO would mean reducing US access and influence, and would weaken one of the key foundations of American global power. The point is, quite straightforward. The United States is a superpower because it can project power across the world. And it can do that because it is enabled in alliances like NATO and partnerships beyond NATO. So removing that network, if you remove it, you do not just change US foreign policy, you fundamentally weaken its global position. And that makes the United States leaving NATO even less likely. So it's important to understand that there's a difference between political talk and structural reality. And the structure says the United States does not leave. You see, when you understand how power works, it becomes clear why that outcome is highly unlikely. You know, power is not just about the size of a country's army. It's about where they are and who allows them to be there. If this perspective challenges how you see NATO and what its members bring to the system, then take a moment to engage with it. Either way, the conversation does not end here. This is Ozi Perspective. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.